not just physically but emotionally too. Like no matter how much you no matter how much you rest, sometime inside you still feel tired and exhausted. But in this episode, we're going to talk about this experience, and we are deep diving into boundaries and emotional fatigue, and also our own pattern that make us or keep us stuck for longer time. So let's welcome our first guest, Anna, and get to know her journey. Welcome, Anna. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me today.
So, Anna, normally whenever we talk about some doctors, psychologists, right, in early age, they always decide like, I want to become a doctor, right? Do you have any story or maybe insight that why you choose to become psychologist?
Oh, we say it's different for different people. There are people who decide like in the early childhood, but mostly I met people who decided in more in mature age, because when you realize yourself more, when you realize you have things to work on, or you have like this very pro-social personality, when you want to help people live their better lives.
Yeah.
So I believe these are two major reasons. So I think yes, like being already quite mature, I decided I want to know more about personality, about relationships, how to be the better version of yourself and how to improve this world.
Perfect. And now we're going to talk about, I think, burnout. Like normally European people, I heard them saying like, I need a vacation because I got burned out. And what does burnout actually feel like beyond just being tired?
So there is a difference between a regular fatigue and a burnout. The easier way to say it, like fatigue is normal, like when you do something, you need some rest, recovery.
Yeah.
But at some point, even like when you are tired and you are resting and it doesn't help, it looks like a burnout often, because burnout is when your nervous system is so exhausted that recovery is like no longer possible in a good manner. So we have to be very attentive to ourselves to be able to stop at some point when we already feel we are like tired, we need rest. But sometimes we just push because now we want more productivity, we don't have time to rest. But then we can feel like very empty, and it's more complicated then.
But is it like vacation is enough thing to maybe release from burnout, or is there are any ways that we can use?
It depends how do you plan to rest, because simple rest like laying on the sofa might not help. Because speaking about burnout, it can be like a lot of overworking. It can also have emotional layer. For example, we can say people who work with other people, supportive professions can have like also higher emotional burnout, because like people give a lot and often they don't have something back. So it's also like emotional like this. And yeah, we need to be very attentive to take care of ourselves. And it's often a good idea to actually switch a perspective. Like going to a new place can be actually a good idea. Trying something new, so our like neurons have some new experience, new dopamine, something like that. So we just not just turn off to just rest, but we are like switching to some new activity to have like new experience to enrich our emotional well-being.
Maybe can you name like 3 to 4 those specific maybe practices that people can do to maybe release from burnout, even though not go for specially vacation, but maybe at home?
I would still dig deeper, considering their personality, their temperament, because it can be really different. Because sometimes it's really the best will be just to lay all day, and it will be good for this person. For some people, works very well some hobbies, some handicrafts, but for other people it can be more challenging and not that fulfilling. So it can be like really changing some ways to do something new. So your brain, like it's really making different like these neural connections, and it can really refresh.
Okay, so there is also thing, because I seen in especially in workspace in corporate culture, right? So there are many people who are like high performing people, right? And they also feel too much burnout because of high performance. Does high performance actually make you feel more burnout or no?
There is a risk for higher burnout probability because, yes, these people, they want a lot from themselves. Their managers probably also want more from them than from, let's say, more like average performing people. So when they are tired, they don't have this inner permission. They think they don't have any like possibility to have rest. They can not go to a vacation. They work for their career growth.
Yeah.
So sometimes this balance between work, people, own well-being, sometimes it's distorted. So they really put it all into work, and they actually can put more than that they can actually handle put in there.
Okay. Sometimes we say like also like especially with the burnout thing that sometimes it also impact on a relationship. So how we can avoid that if we are burnout, we know that we are feeling tired, but how can we avoid our relationship conflict just because of that?
When we are tired, we are burned out, we don't have enough energy for relationships, so
Yeah.
they can really suffer from that. So it is important to really outline the situation, to be in contact, to find ways to maybe replenish even within these relationships, to do something together. Because yes, some people, they get very tired, especially we just were speaking about high performing people, and they can be overly performing, and their partners feeling like abandoned because they put it all to work. They start to criticize them, to require more, and sort of they have a right to receive some love and care in relationships, and they feel upset.
Yeah.
But these people who gave it all to work, they don't have any resource to give them. So I would say it can be really challenging in modern world, but we have to find this way to feel when we have to have this break, to have some opportunity to replenish our energy. I like to use like very simple identifier. For example, to check out with yourself, like on a daily basis, how do you feel? For example, if you are like green, you are full of energy.
What do you mean by green?
Like if we'll explain it like from green to yellow, orange, red, and dark, like till the black. So let's say green is a spectrum when you're high energy, you're full of motivation, you want to live, you're enjoying your life. Yellow is you like, okay, you did something, you already don't feel like super high. Orange, you can be like sort of tired and you need rest. And like red, you are like critically like very tired, you are stressing, you are irritated, you can have like, I don't know, depending on temperament, like anger issues with people or close up, or like if you're melancholic, you can be like very upset and you already don't have this resource, you need to actually really replenish it. But sometimes people, even when they're already in the red zone, they push themselves to the edge further, and to some point they become to the like dark or black zone, like they don't feel anything, like something bad is happening and they don't even have this emotional resource to even react to that. So it's like just nervous system shuts down because it's already over.
Yeah, so I think it's also very important for everyone, even though if you are in relationship, you self-identify definitely, but also to think about other partner of yours that maybe they also go through something that you are not aware of, right? So let's move to another segment that's called personal boundaries. And I think this topic is very widely known, but also very confusing one, because some people set boundaries in their daily life, but they, in a way, they can also make people who are very close to them, make them away from themselves. So what boundaries actually mean to, as a psychologist, to you?
Boundaries have to be healthy. As a psychologist or as a person, you need to have healthy boundaries, because if you don't have boundaries, it's even higher probability that the relationships collapse, because people don't feel where you begin, where they end. So it's a kind of place where your contact happens. So here is my territory, there is your territory, and we interact. There is no like, when one person like totally dissolves other person and perceives like a continuation of yourself, for example. So it is very important to understand what are your boundaries, to feel when they are violated or distorted, and to be able to say it so you are heard, and also in an ecological way, if we speak especially about the close relationships, loving relationships, because if you don't have your boundaries, it's another reason why are you so tired, returning to the previous segment, right? So because every time if you feel you would say no, but you don't do that, you lose something, as if like someone takes a bit of you, and you can be also empty because of that. So being able to put your boundaries is really essential to maintaining your well-being, your mental health, and your healthy relationships. And it is really important to do it, I would say, on time. So you can actually, when you feel like I feel uncomfortable that this person said something or did something, and when you speak about it, right when you heard it, you can do it in a calm manner. Like, okay, I want you to hear me on this. But if you miss it once, how do you feel? If you miss it twice, how do you feel? When you miss it already, I don't know, like 20 times.
Oh, you definitely get frustrated. I've seen many people, especially in my friend circle as well, they are struggling to set boundaries because they said they cannot say no. And it's not only their mistake, I feel we are conditioned to it in a way.
Yeah.
Because of our culture, for example, especially in Asia, like in our country, from like India, it's very hard to say no to stuff. Because if you are a female, we are conditioned to accept everything, especially, and say yes when elder people say to us something like, can you bring me a glass of water, for example, right? So this is like your duty, you have to do it. And sometimes it's very important point, because how we can learn to say no? Can you give us example?
It's a very important question. I feel it will be relevant for a lot of people from our audience, because yes, we have this cultural conditioning in many cultures which actually shuts us from saying no when we actually have to do that. We have so-called female gender trauma, like we're perceived like we have to be like tolerant. Wisdom was considered like you have to just keep silent, to be very patient. But if we will proceed doing that, we will pay too high price for that with ourselves. And it is important to learn ways to outline your boundaries and not to keep it stocked, because like if you are super angry, then you can destroy some intimacy or something, because if you keep silent 1, 2, 3 times, then you are super angry, you start like maybe yelling at your partner, like you always do it like this, and this person could have been conscious or no about what he was doing wrong, for example. And there are actually tools, I would say they're very helpful, especially they are very helpful for girls, women, for like women in cultures when we are expected to be silent, followers and stuff. They're called like I statements, is when you express your feelings related to somebody's actions, reasons for that, and the best way to say how would you wish it to be differently.
To the person or to yourself?
You have to understand for yourself and to express to other person. I don't know, like maybe give me some example. For example, there is something, maybe not a real situation, maybe some, I don't know, imaginary situation, like you can be like unhappy without like your partner don't do something, like you asked something, maybe he didn't, I don't know, threw away garbage or something.
Yeah, that's I think the common thing in every female, that you ask your husband to throw out the trashes and he will take like years to throw out.
Yeah, so instead like not wait like, okay, I'll do it myself, I don't like it, and like, or like waiting for him for a week when it's already smelly. Like first step you can do using this like formula, you can say like, I feel upset when you don't throw away garbage when I ask you, because I don't feel heard in this situation. And for me it is important to be heard and valued in this relationship. So I would wish that in such situation you would hear me and you will do what you promised me to do. It is important for me.
Yeah, but in some situation, it's a funny situation, but sometimes it happens that other person is not even willing to listen.
That is a problem, and there is uncomfortable conversation, but we have to also cover it that when we set our boundaries, there has to be measure, a sort of price for not maintaining it, because without it, it's like more of a recommendation.
Yeah.
Like when you outline like once and like people don't want to hear you, and you need to understand like in case you will not be doing this, from my side I will have to do this and this, or I will withdraw from doing this.
But
So
is it possible, like, if we can give like a silent treatment, like if you don't follow my boundaries, I'm silent. I'm not gonna talk to you until you understand.
if that works with the partner, but overall, like it's usually to speak out, not just like go silent, because if you're unhappy with something and you don't explain anything, you just go silent. Another person like can think like maybe you're upset with me, maybe you're upset with something, with weather, and they like may have no idea what are you silent about.
Okay.
So if you say like I'm very unhappy about you did this and something, I need my space and I wish you to do this, and I will not maintain this communication in this manner. Before it changes, like it will not be going on like that.
So sometimes we also say like we know we can set boundaries, but it also creates some kind of a conflict. How to avoid that? Like you can set boundaries in specific maybe 5 steps, starting from today with your partner, with your friends and everyone. If you can give us like maybe little example, like simple 5 steps that you can set boundaries that will not create conflict.
I would look at this a little bit differently. So if you are like focusing, first of all, like like constructive criticism and like not constructive, the difference is like you address the behavior. If it's like constructive criticism, if you criticize the person as a whole, like oh you are bad or something, it will be not very not focused criticism, and will probably not lead to any positive outcome. And at some point, if boundaries don't work as expected, sometimes you have to face the conflict. Just it can be more a healthy conflict. When you sit together, you express all your emotions, you have to rediscover how will you communicate, because like conflicts is like a clashing of the boundaries. And when, let's say, one person doesn't have boundaries, and at some point they start having boundaries, and it's like, as it's in these funny stories, like, oh, like your parents, when you return from a psychologist, and like now you are bad because you start to have some boundaries, like you go and they teach you something wrong. Because you become not
I
so
think
convenient for people.
with my friend is also same, because he was not saying no to anyone, and then he starts saying no to people, and people disliking him after that.
Clearly, because he become less convenient and more of a person with his own life. Because I honestly suggest that the early boundaries are so much better than too late, because like, for example, if you go into communication, you outline, for example, I'm answering you like within this time frame, like if you write me like after, I don't know, like 10 p.m. or whatever, midnight, I will not respond to you, I will respond to you like later when I have time. So something like values, like something, don't expect me to do like everything anytime, because sometimes people, they're like learning, like when you are helping, and especially like there are for like very kind, empathic people, they're willing to help. It's like within their nature. And other people, they receive help once, twice, and they like already understand like you can go there again and receive what you want. So in this case, it can be indeed challenging, because they will be probably upset because they have this pattern, like they can rely on you, even though if they don't give you anything instead, but still they can have this belief, like they can have something from you. And you have to outline, like at this point I'm helping you, at this point I'm not doing that, and it's like my full right. You don't have to justify it or something, and you have to actually start saying no without feeling guilt, because I would say like healthy boundary, you treat it not as an obstacle or you became more angry or something. It's like an instruction how to treat you, how to deal with you, because people sometimes they don't know how to. They have some ideas in their mind, some are healthy and something they don't understand, so you have to teach them how to do that,
how to treat you, right? Is it possible that sometimes people maybe have over boundaries, like they put too many boundaries to the other person, that other person or their friend will feel like, no, it's exhaustion relationship, I don't want to be in this kind of relationship. Is it possible or no?
I would like to clarify boundaries or conditions.
Like, for example, if you ask someone to do something, right? You ask for help, right? And the person say no first time. Then you ask for help second time. The third time you're not gonna ask, because technically this person is already make sure that that person will not help you, right? But if it's very small thing and person still say no, and they will also put some condition that this is I am, this is what I'm gonna do it. But for you, for yourself, you feel like, no, this is not how friendship look like, right? So do you think people also can be a victim if someone putting boundaries on them?
Okay, thank you for this question. It's an interesting one. I would say still, even if they reject on a small thing, that is sort of their thing to do. And I would say it's more up to you what kind of relationships you want. Because, for example, there are relationships when they are mutual, like you are giving your friend and your friend is giving you like a lot. But if you feel like you are generous, you want to give, and other person probably like be cutting on anything you ask, it's just like time maybe to question like, do I want this relationship in my like close circle or like not really?
Yeah. So let's move to the another segment that is called wrong people. So, so people often say like they find a relationship very hard in first of all, and sometimes they fell for a wrong people for no reason. And is it any way that we can avoid this?
Deep therapy.
Deep therapy. But there is a thing of therapy as well that I'm going to ask later. But yeah, give us something more.
Okay, so the reason is like deeper. Usually, like subconsciously, we have some familiar patterns, and as children, when we don't have critical thinking yet, we perceive the world as it is. So for the children who were like super lucky to be like to grow up in a very healthy and loving family with healthy boundaries and respect, it will be easier for them to find secure attachment style and people for such type of relationships. If there are families where parents were like emotionally unavailable or unstable, like either they are like loving, then they are cold or something, they don't have this model of a healthy relationship, and they, as a child, they really want to have this love and they are deprived of it. There are harder, like more difficult cases when there are like conflicts or even some violent cases. So these children like grow up to become adults who have more probably struggles with finding right people, because people find something familiar. For example, they have this like model, like that love is like a sacrifice. Like for example, it is one parent is sacrificing for another. For example, one partner, like one parent is ill and another parent has to do everything and to sacrifice on life at some point. So this person can have this like victim mindset, to be like thinking, I need to give, this is real love. Unfortunately, this situation can lead, for example, to cases when they find like addicts with some abuse who mistreat them, and they don't break up with them because they are saving them. And it's really hard to break such patterns. It needs recognition and working with that.
But don't you feel like we always say that because if you don't have a healthy parent life, then definitely you're going to find a wrong partner? Because I listen this thing many times from many people, like many psychologists, right? But don't you feel maybe it's possible that you, even though if your parents is not that toxic, but in the middle level, will you ever find a healthy relationship?
There is no guarantee like you'll be just okay, like you are happy you grow up in a healthy, functional family, but there is no guarantee anyway, unfortunately. Just maybe you have more adaptive patterns if you grew up in a healthy environment. But still there are some places where we lack awareness. So sometimes there are some cases before they find recognition that something is wrong. For example, like people like who didn't see something, they don't recognize, okay, here is something clearly wrong happening, especially like some abuse, like it doesn't come up like evidently like in one day, right? First it starts as something healthy because as someone like said, like it would be so much easier if all the abusers will come with this like red flag or something, but they don't do that because otherwise it will not work for them. So sometimes you need time to recognize it, and you have to really be really aware. And mostly we have to build the skill to be aware, like how do we feel? Because it is often that we feel like something is wrong, something is like happening, like with my boundaries. Someone can be like disvaluing or something, but sometimes we don't notice that. So we need to raise our awareness to be really accountable of like what do we feel and why. Like, is it actually something behind that? Because there can be like trauma response when people can be triggered by a lot of stuff which can relate or like not exactly relate. But sometimes we miss some points and then we're like, okay, I could have seen it before, but from start it's not very visible.
It's not very visible. But I feel like there is also possibility that you are now in relationship, right? You fell in love with this person, right? And turn out this person is not the same that you were thinking that person will be, right? And now you want to get out of that. You know that there was many red flags and you ignored it. You get to know after a long time, right? And now you want to get out of that relationship, but it's very hard because you are feeling like if you leave that person, you will never have any future ahead of you. Why people generally feel this way?
I would say conditioning, and they have to broaden the perspective. It is very good if they have opportunity for personal work, psychological. At least they have to find like other surrounding, because sometimes people get stuck into something and they don't see exit, especially if they are stuck in some dysfunction in relationships, like they are feeling low, and sometimes they really need help. Like it can work similarly to addiction, right? There can be also some like limiting beliefs, right? Like as you said, like you can feel you don't have any future if you will leave. But if we like see broader, like actually people quit relationships and they found new relationships, and it's like not that like the end of the world.
So there is a
Most of the
possibility
cases.
that you can find something healthy, because most of the people, they lose the hope that they will not find anyone.
They have to reestablish it. They have to reconfirm themselves, found their like what are their personalities, what are their foundations, what are they searching for, and to know themselves, to have a good self-esteem, to realize like what is going on here, like it doesn't suit. So like not giving yourself away for something just because like you are afraid of uncertainty, because it is not at the end, it's uncertainty. It's also very scary.
Yeah.
Especially like when we have like conditioning, like cultural conditioning, or like when people feel guilt or shame. In this case it becomes really hard, but you really need to have your side in this battle, you know, because if you will be more with people who blame you or something, or who support this mechanism, like it will be harder to get out.
So now I wanted to talk definitely about, because we're talking about relationship, like narcissism and narcissism and emotional manipulation. I feel like many relationship, I think even though in my previous one in past, there are always emotional manipulation, either from my side or the other person's side, right? It's always possible. So what are the real sign that person is narcissist, or if I'm not a narcissist, how I can find out?
Okay, that's a 1 million question. Everyone wants to know how to see narcissists from the first sight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, usually need more than one side to get the idea, because they want to create this view, the perfect view, because actually they lack own core as well. So they often perceive themselves as how people see them. So they create this grandeur image, and they can be very intense. So sometimes like there could be a sign when someone is like super active, super wonderful. They try to give you whatever you want and try to guess what you want. And then they can like do this withdrawal pattern. So you will get more hooked on them, so they will feel more power over you.
Ah, okay. So, for example, is it actually happen that you are being polite with everyone? Just example, right? You are polite with everyone, and turn out you try to give as well a lot of love, but sometimes you don't receive it and you just take it back. So that person is a narcissist.
Why?
So it's no, right?
No, I would say it's like, saying it as a metaphor, like for this case, as I would say, like, for example, if I like to be friendly, I have like a deep interest to people, it's sincere interest, and like, I don't mind like doing something or making someone happy. And there is like some, I wouldn't say like deposit to withdraw,
Yeah.
but you act like as you are, like you are being yourself, and you just see other person like doesn't want to give you something, like doesn't want to support you, and like you can understand, like, do I want to build a relationship with this person, a friendly one or something, or will I be the giving one and they will be just like receiving?
Receiving one, yeah.
So it's not like you want like, oh, I'm gonna impress, everyone has to like me, and like because some people are very, very clingy on
Yeah.
this like social approval. So in this case, I would say it's good to be like, to offer some trust, not like crazy 100% trust or like give everything to everyone, of course. Just you open up yourself a bit and you see how other person treats you. Should you trust like some more? So it will be not like a leap of faith, but more like a consistency, and like you have more, you collect more safety from other side, let's say.
Yeah, definitely. Why, especially I think whenever we talk about narcissist, we know that they are very attractive.
Could be. Could
So
be.
how can we find out if attractive person is a narcissist?
We have to observe. We have to observe, because like there are like some keys, for example, right? Like this disvaluing or like toxic jokes, or like more desire to have more power over other person, and imposing guilt is a very often sign, right? Especially when they, for example, even abusers who are like horrible people, they do something wrong and they don't have remorse, otherwise they like try to blame other people for their reaction, right? Even considering some really bad cases, like they say like, oh, this person like provoked me, like what did you do to me or something.
It's
and,
your fault, it's not mine. You
yes,
made me do that.
I would say, yeah, like with them, it's very important to feel your boundaries, because they often have this sort of, sensing of people. It's very often, unfortunately, that like empath people, very kind people who don't have strong boundaries and often don't have strong self-esteem become victim of such people. And I would say it's never worth it like to fight on your territory. If you like suspect some people is like pushing back about you, it's a good idea to return them on boundaries, to return them like about what do they feel, what is their part in this, because they don't want to take any part of the accountability. So I think it's important to not allow them to sit on your boundaries, and you have to return them on their territory.
So is narcissist ever say sorry? Because this is the very big question I asked some of my friends, and they wrote me like, can you ask this question? Do they apologize? Or never?
I would honestly say probably they can, but it can be fake too, because it's really important for them to be right. Because I've read a point of view which I share, and I would add it too, because these people can be also very ruined inside themselves, and their self-esteem and ego are so fragile. So if they accept, okay, like I was wrong, it's almost like a ruination for them, right? If you're a healthy person, you can understand, okay, here I did it wrong. okay, I failed. That was really wrong. I can try to apologize, to compensate for that. It's like more
You
mature
try to
position.
maybe talk with the person and ask like, yeah, we can sorted these things out,
Yeah, you
right?
want to fix it,
Yeah.
right? If you have this like more pro-social element, like you understand, okay, like I hurt someone,
Yeah.
you can understand it yourself, or if someone says like, you hurt me here.
Yeah.
And I think if you're a healthy person, you're like, oh, but you also did this, or you did this.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to have healthy relationship, you want to see what is happening with you, with me, what is happening with our contact, and how to fix it if we need this, and not like disposing people as like narcissists can do, because they often can perceive other person as a like mirror or something, as their extension, as a function, because they lack empathy, and they have this hurtful egoism in this case.
So there is like two things, like whenever we maybe get in contact with the narcissist person, they will give you so much love when they are in this early stage, right? And then they deprive you for love for whole your life, and you, I think this is called there is like a term, I think, online, like you put some kind of a breadcrumb next to the mouse and he will always come to get it, but then first you feed it and then you will not give it, but you just hang it in front of it, right? So I think majority of female or even male maybe go through those kind of relationship where they get so much love when they are in relationship, but in the middle of a love, the narcissist will deprive you for that love, and you actually go back to this person because you feel like, oh, I will get back this love, he's a nice person, he will give me back, but he will never give you that. So why narcissists find this as a trick to control us?
It's that we actually, most of us, I can say, I don't like generalization, but here, yeah, like we want love, we want to be seen and heard and something. The interesting word to say about them, I would say like they are not like marathons. They can like really short term and very intense.
Yeah.
They can put a lot of intense, because like it doesn't mean they can do it like long term. So with more healthy, sometimes it's more like a consistency, and it's not like super like here everything for you, like just everything, and more like to see, because let's say as an example, right, as before you said, like for example, you're giving a lot to other person and then you don't want and you just go away. But it's not that like these people, it's not that like they want relationship, they just started very nice because they're so emotionally generous, and then they recognize, okay, maybe it's not my person, it happens very bad, I'm sorry, and I go. But still they want to have power, so they can have this breadcrumb for you.
Yeah.
So like now they don't need to invest all of it they were giving you before, just to have a sort of promise. So you hope to have it once more again. But it is a trap, unfortunately, which is not happening, because they already have their like social confirmation that they already have power over you. And unfortunately, these people can like use other people and stuff.
I feel like, especially with my scenario, sometimes it happen like narcissist is making you feel happy, right, from starting period of time. But is it like people pleasers also come as narcissist or no? Because people pleaser also want to make you happy, right, in a way.
But people pleasers, they give away their power. They don't like gain power with their people pleasing. It's an interesting paradox that indeed like they try to do, but they do it from a position like from below position. They will look you in the eyes like, do you like me? Because they want your approval.
Oh yes, yeah,
So
that's
it's,
true.
Like a bit different power dynamics.
Okay,
And,
so I wanted to ask one more question, especially when we talk about these kind of relationship, the victim of narcissist, they often blame themselves, even though with some of the things, like last time when we were talking, right, you said I say sorry many times in my conversation, but I feel like I don't say that, right, but other person know that I do it, this thing on repeat, right? And I feel often people who go through this kind of relationship, they try to victim blame, then they blame themselves. Maybe I was a wrong person, that's why I fell for that person. So why we actually blame ourselves?
Because you want to be accountable. If you are more like you search, why is it happening?
Yeah.
Right? We try to find what is it in my power, right, to make it different. And sometimes it can lead you to this assumption that there is a sort of your fault. Like, it is really important to recognize, like, here is my part of responsibility and here is another person's part of responsibility, which is also about boundaries, about the burnout, because when we take a lot from other side, we're also getting overly tired for a reason. And sometimes you need to recognize, like, not to search what is wrong with me, but what is wrong with a pattern.
To
Because
check
you
the
can-
patterns.
Yeah, you can see, like, this is me, this is my part. Like,
Yeah.
it's normal that you are reviewing what am I doing, what are the consequences of this and of this. But you have to see, like, you have to try to see the full picture. What is other person about? What is what is the like power dynamics of our relationships? What are the patterns? How do we interact? What am I giving here? What am I receiving here? How other person is treating me?
Yeah.
And can I be safe here? Can I express my thoughts and my feelings here? Like, it's very good to ask yourself these questions, not to stay in your sphere of your self-blaming, because like if somebody is like pushes you back, it's all about you, all about you.
Yeah.
As we already said, is this like very red flag, right? So they have to be able to also see a wider picture.
So normally whenever we talk about relationships, right, and also we have this scenario where we often think that, okay, I got to know that I have some issue, now I have to go to therapy, right? And majority of people, they avoid going to therapy because in their head it's, if I go for therapy, they will give me medicine and I will be slow in my work. So this is like a common perception or maybe thinking of people like me especially. I feel like if I go to therapy, doctor will give me some medicine and I will be not functional as much as I am right now. So why we are so afraid to go to therapy?
I would say because of the stigma, probably, which is already a bit more in the past.
Yeah.
Like, for example, people are scared, oh, if I go to therapy, it means I'm not healthy
Yeah.
in my mind. But overall, like psychologists, like they don't give pills like psychiatrists do, doctors
okay.
do. So, and I would say like even if a person is taking pills, it's better to go to therapy too, because pills can stabilize the state, but they probably don't change your thinking, your life pattern. So you will still be in a situation where you will need to be on the pills all the time, because something is not changing.
Okay. So can people truly change their relationship after therapy? Is it possible or no?
If they went through it very well, I believe yes, because they reestablish their personalities, they understand themselves better. They understand what is healthy and what is not, what is confusion. Because we're also conditioned, like even with like cultural, not just like customs, even like the books, the movies, like it's really implied that it has to be super intensive, it has to be like a thunder and something, which is like not often like a livable relationship. Like not often it starts like this, more often it different.
Yeah.
Let's say it like that. So when we're like super open, when we're children, teenagers, we perceive this without critical filter, and then it can lead to this dopamine searching.
Yeah.
You know, this like risky something, high stakes, and like all or nothing. And yeah, like as adults, we already know like there is no like just black and white. There are so many gradations, and not always a
how it is.
perfection, and
Yeah.
be more like in acceptance of real life, real people with their issues too.
So people who are watching us on site and online, and if you wanted to give them one advice to be a healthy mentally, especially in relationship or in their daily life, what advice would you give to them?
I would say to discover yourself, to use the tools, surround yourself with people who support the best in you, and you really have to realize your boundaries and your values, because after that you will be able to see who is actually better for you and who is like not supporting you, who is like disvaluing you, so you can filter your surrounding, because people do influence you.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have to be really grounded in yourself and be very honest with yourself.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, everyone. And before we leave, we have on site our guest, and they also wanted to ask some questions. If someone wanted to ask some questions, please do let me know. Okay, please do come. You can move this chair. It's okay?
Hi, yeah.
Hi.
Hold more.
More?
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
You have answered almost all of my questions that I have in mind coming into this session. However, as a mother, I have a few questions, but I will stick to one or two. So, as a mother, how can I make sure my child is not affected by the tensions or the scenario in the house? When you have all this chaos in the relationship with the father, or dysfunctional relationship, how can you make sure your child is emotionally not affected growing up?
Thank you for your question. It is a very challenging question. In terms, a child is very open, so I cannot say it's like 100% like they can be like in some safety net or something to be not impacted. But I would say if you are facing some situation, like ongoing situation in the family, when there is like stress which can influence a child, it is very important to give a lot of support, to reclaim. It's very important to give a child this opinion that they are good, they are safe.
And she's here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful. So it is very important. Sometimes even children can blame themselves for what has happened in family, and they grow up with this feeling. So it's very important to, like, if something is going wrong in the relationships between parents, is to always to support that the child is lovable, is important. It's like not their fault. Like it has to be also delivered. There is sort of hierarchy, right? So there is a level where there are parents, like relatives, and there is like a children level. So they don't have to mix, because it is often, unfortunately, when people are like less conscious and try to involve child, you know, to have more power dynamics, like to be like to make their position stronger, or to try like to have a child only on one side. But it is important that a child becomes still remains like a person, and it's important to have this like well-being and to support the self-esteem, the boundaries, that like there is a children's safe place. It's very important that a child has like this maximally possible child good experience, because this like a sort of like inventory we build, like if we have a lot of safety and love from childhood, it's super beneficial in the adult age, because like if we don't have, we have to like raise it within ourselves as adults further. So it's very nice to pack it as more as possible, to have this like good time when they feel loved, saved, when they can play and be a child, so they don't have to like grow very fast or feel like guilty. It's very important, like if something is happening like sad or like stressful, that it's not child's fault in no way. So if a child like can feel like that, it's really important to establish that the child is fine, it is safe, and what is happening on the parents level, it's like on this level, and they have their safe level.
Thank you.
Welcome.
One more question. How can you identify if a child is affected in the home where she's growing up? How can you identify in a child? How do you know when, like, okay, now my child is affected?
Behavior can change. It can become more closed, like less sharing, for example, right? To close up a bit in communication. It can be seen sometimes through some patterns, even like children can, like when they do some painting, they can do something like different or unusual, or it can be seen like how they play with other children.
So perfect. Any
One-
other question?
One last question. How do you know? How can I, like, come to conclusion like, okay, this is the end, or this is time for me to move out? Like,
Do you mean about relationships?
yes.
Oh, I would say it would require more like deep consideration of what is going on, and it's like it feels more like you need a personal approach. Maybe you need to work with this to outline what is actually happening. Can these relationships be functional? Do I want to stay in this? Like, can we actually fix this? How is other person? Like, what sort of person is that? Do they want to keep this relationship? Can we make it together? So it depends on motivation, on personality, on what are your goals, other person's goals. So yes, if like there are some situation, it has to be considered also. So you can see everything in a complex.
Thank you so much for the answer.
You're welcome.
I think I got mine. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So thank you everyone. Okay. So thank you Anna for joining us today, and I think
Thank you
people
for
who are
inviting.
people who are on site and off site online, they will definitely find this session helpful, and we're going to create this kind of session many more. So please stay tuned with our channel and our amazing guest. If you want to know more about physiotherapy, please do psychotherapy, please do reach out to Anna. We will definitely mention her Instagram. You can ping her, you can comment your questions, and she can definitely answer them. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and stay tuned. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, perfect. You have to speak louder, Ali.
It was